The battlefield was still smoldering when he found her. Smoke curled into the starless night, mingling with a metallic tang of blood and ozone from plasma fire. Ruined mechs lay twisted like broken dolls, and the cries of the wounded carried weakly across the ash-scorched valley. Among the wreckage, Corporal Elias Vey, known to his comrades as a Quietest soldier, picked his way carefully. Elias wasn't famous for bravery or brilliance. He wasn't a commander or a hero. He kept his head down, did his duty, and survived. He didn't boast, didn't joke in the barracks, didn't drink away his fears like the others. He simply watched, listened, and carried out orders with quiet precision. But that night, something shifted, because that's when he saw her. Half buried beneath the twisted wing of a downed skimmer, a small figure whimpered. Elias thought at first it was a child, frail, no taller than his chest, her skin pale as moonlight. But when he lifted the wreckage away and she blinked up at him with burning red eyes, he realized what she truly was. A vampire, not the monsters from human legend, but a living remnant of the Noctura, a race thought long extinct. They had been fierce once, feared for their predatory gifts. Now, apparently, one survived. And she was tiny, barely grown. She hissed weakly at him, fangs glinting. But her body trembled, ribs jutting beneath torn clothes. She was dying. Elias should have walked away. His orders were clear: eliminate non-human anomalies. Yet he couldn't. Not when she looked at him with fear and desperation. Fear not at him, but of being abandoned. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said softly. His voice was rough from disuse. Few ever heard him speak. "You're safe." Her gaze flickered, suspicious but fading fast. Without thinking further, Elias scooped her into his arms. She was light, too light, and so, for the first time in his soldier's life, he broke orders. Middle, bonds in the shadows. They fled into the wastelands, moving by night, hiding by day. Elias knew deserters would be hunted, but he didn't care. He carried the vampire girl until his arms shook, then set her down only when she had strength to walk. She was wary at first, always watching him with those crimson eyes, expecting betrayal. She refused food until hunger gnawed at her, then whispered in a trembling voice, "I need blood." Elias had no animals to offer, no supplies left. He stared at her, then without hesitation pulled a knife and nicked his own wrist. He offered it wordlessly. Her eyes widened. "You'd give me yours." He nodded. "Better than watching you starve." She drank sparingly, trembling as if afraid he'd strike her. When she pulled away, her cheeks glowed faintly with restored life. "Why?" she whispered. Elias shrugged. "You needed it." That was all. No grand speech, no demand for thanks. Just quiet truth. Over time, her suspicions softened into curiosity. She began asking questions. His name, his past, why he was so silent. Elias never gave much. He said only what was necessary. But in those silences, she felt something she had never known: safety. She told him her own name, Naira. She told him of the fall of the Noctura, of endless hunters who feared her kind. She had been alone ever since. "You'll leave me too," she said one night, her voice breaking. Elias shook his head. "No, you're with me now." The word struck her like lightning. With me. No one had ever claimed her before, not as property, not as prey, but as companion. She didn't know what to call the warmth that bloomed in her chest, so she clung to it with fragile hope, danger and defiance. Their fragile peace shattered when soldiers found them. A patrol of armored enforcers cornered them in the ruins of a burnt-out city. Peril, the commander, sneered, leveling his rifle. "You've deserted, and you harbor a parasite. Step aside. We'll cleanse her." Naira clung to Elias's sleeve, trembling. She had seen this before: men with guns, fire and silver, the endless slaughter. She whispered, Please, don't let them. Elias stepped forward, placing himself between her and the rifles. For the first time in his service, his voice rang out with steel. She's not your enemy. The commander laughed. You've gone soft. Move aside. Elias didn't move. His hands curled around his own rifle, though he knew he was outnumbered. If you want her, you'll go through me. The standoff broke in gunfire. The fight was brutal. Elias fought with grim determination, moving not for orders but for something he'd chosen. Naira, though small, revealed her hidden strength, speed and claws flashing, fangs bared. Together they carved through the patrol, not unscathed but victorious. Afterward, Elias collapsed against the rubble, blood soaking his sleeve. Naira knelt beside him, her small hands trembling. You fool, she whispered, tears streaking her pale cheeks. You could have died for me. He met her gaze quietly. You're worth it. No one had ever said those words to her. They shattered something inside. She buried her face against his chest, sobbing, ending a new family. Word spread quickly. The Quietest soldier who betrayed his orders for a vampire child. Both hunted now. They moved from world to world, never staying long, surviving on scraps, shadows, and trust. But through it all, Naira clung to Elias. Not out of fear, but love. Not romantic, not childish dependence. Something deeper. One night, as they hid in a cave on a desolate moon, Naira curled beside him and whispered, You don't have to stay. You could leave me, live free again. Elias shook his head, eyes reflecting the small fire he'd built. I already chose. You're mine to protect. She hesitated, then pressed a tiny hand to his callous one. Her voice broke as she whispered the word she had never dared use before. Family. Elias, silent as always, only squeezed her hand in reply. No words were needed. And so the Quietest soldier and the tiny vampire wandered the stars, not as fugitive and burden, not as soldier and anomaly, but as something rarer, as a family no one could take from them.